Hello everybody, we have a very important video for you today. We'll be talking about setting up your trading plan. So every trader has to have a trading plan. That's without a doubt, because you have to follow a risk profile. You have to follow your risk profile, and of course what price to get in at, what price to get out at. You have to follow these strict guidelines you make for yourself when trading, so you have to limit your losses and get out when the price is right and when it's wrong. So first thing to do before you get into a trade is, of course, ask yourself why you're doing so. You have to look at the indicators. You have to look at the RSI, the MACD, the news coming up, the news coming out, and you have to write this down, right? You have to write down your thesis. Why are you going into the trade? Then you have to ask yourself, what's my risk profile? What am I risking? How much should I put in here? What's the max amount I should invest? Because if you just buy on the way down, let's say PayPal just keeps going down, right? And you are putting money in after every single day, after every single red day, then you're going to be down, thousands of dollars possibly, or maybe tens of thousands of dollars, just because you didn't follow your strict guidelines of only put in, $1,000, only buy 5 shares, only buy 10 shares. You have to write that down before the trade happens, and that does go along with, of course, the stop loss. So a very important part of trading is essentially the stop loss, the risk to reward, and the price targets. It all ties in. So let's say we're betting on PayPal stock right now at this price, 227, or it's actually 225, right? 225.78. We're betting that it will go up. So, who knows if it will? We're betting that it will. Why? Because it's under the 200 moving average. The RSI is under 30, which means it's oversold, and it's a growing company. It should be right back up there. There's not much major news that hurt PayPal, except for the Pinterest buy-in, and it didn't even go through. So that's why it's been falling, and a general market correction with financial stocks. So not much news surrounding Facebook specifically has been out, and we think this company will recover. So what do? We buy in at this price, 225, and we set ourselves, let me move this, there, 225, and we set ourselves a stop loss, which will be right at this line right here. So a 6% loss, that's our limit, 211, because we have a resistance and support line here, 1, 2, generally 3 or 4 hits on this resistance / support line, on this trend line that we're using. So we have a 6% stop loss. Beyond that, we sell, right? That's the rule. So if we buy here and it goes up, right, our price targets should be set as well. So right here's a pretty solid line. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 hits, or 6, right? We have 6 hits along this line. It's not a major one. It's not the highest high or the lowest low, but it's around there. So we have a 6% loss as the maximum loss and a 12 or so % gain. So right away, first price target is a 2 to 1 or a 1 to 2, right? We're risking 1 for 2. We're risking $6 for 12. Now our second price target could be these moving averages. We get in, so right around here we have an 18% gain. So that's a 1 to 3. And maybe it keeps going. So we sell a quarter at the first target, a quarter at the second target. Now we're holding on to our shares. We see a 22% gain, 23, and we could watch it keep going. You have to hold some stock after it rides, right? You have to hold on to your winners. So right away we're making 6%, or we're making 12%, 18% from our trade with a maximum loss of 6%. So right away, our first price target is a 1 to 2. We're risking 1 for 2. We're risking 1 portion of our trade for 2 portion profit. So that's our risk to reward, 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, depending on your price target. So you have to set that up in advance. Why am I going into this trade? What's my stop loss going to be? What's my price targets? When should I sell at this price? Another portion at this price, the last portion at this price, right? And of course, you have to ask yourself what can affect my trade in the meantime. Right now we have an earnings report. This is kind of off. The earnings is Monday. So today is Friday. Earnings are Monday, November 8th. That can heavily affect our trade, right? We've seen many stocks get their stocks price crushed because of a bad earnings report. We don't want to get in that with PayPal. Right now it's a good setup, but do we want to risk, getting a 20% loss in one day from an earnings report, or a 20% gain, right? We have to ask ourselves that. In many cases, you should just start out with a couple shares, right? A very small portion of your starter position in PayPal, just to have some exposure at least, right? You don't want to put too much in and bet on the earnings, because that's always a 50-50. You don't want to put too little in or none at all, because then you have no exposure. And of course, at that point, it'll go up if you don't have anything. If you have something, it'll go down. That's always how it works. But as long as you have something little, then you can buy back on the way down, lower your average price, no big deal. Of course, and after you get out of the trade, no matter which way it goes, let's say it goes down, right? Regardless of the earnings report, PayPal falls in price, okay? You lose 6% of your trade, of your money that you invested in PayPal. What went wrong? How could you have done differently? You have to ask yourself these questions in your journal entry after the fact of the trade. Essentially, what you're doing is keeping yourself accountable and disciplined. If you set these price targets and stop loss lines in advance, you're less and less likely to ignore them, to pass up on them. And whenever that happens, whenever you pass up on a suggested line or price target, you lose money. That's essentially what happens 98% of the time, right? So yeah, I hope you understood what I'm talking about. And you have to set up a trading plan. You have to hold yourself accountable and disciplined when you're risking your money. I hope you do that just in the future, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So if you did, please press like. We have videos Monday every Friday. Monday, hopefully we'll be talking, hopefully PayPal has a good earnings, right? But yeah, that's some info about how to set up a trading plan. I hope that helped. Thanks for watching.